This week we're learning about life cycles, and the book I'm going to read today is called Frogs. So we're going to learn about the frog life cycle. And this is a nonfiction book. That means it has real information. And it's by Elizabeth Carney. She's the author, and there's no illustrator because these are actual real pictures. This is also a chapter book. It's the table of contents. The table of contents, a table is like a chart, and contents means what's inside. So this is a chart about what's inside this book. And so it's kind of like chapters. So the first chapter would be called Splash, and it starts on page 4. And then each chapter has a different title, and it tells you what page to go to. Here's the first chapter. Splash! Splish splash. What is that sound? What is hopping and jumping around? What loves to swim? What loves to eat bugs? It's a frog. Can you hop like a frog? And there's different kinds of frogs. This particular frog is called a Pacific chorus frog. Frogs live all over the world except Antarctica. That's where it's really cold. Frogs usually live in wet places. They like rivers, lakes, and ponds. But some frogs live in trees. Some even live in the desert. Frogs can be found all over the world. Wherever they live, that's their habitat. Where something lives is the habitat. So here's some more different frogs. This frog is called the marsh frog. This frog is the Andean marsupial frog. This frog is the red-eyed tree frog. And this frog is a bullfrog. It's hiding. This is the next chapter. Croak. Look at this frog croaking. Some frogs' throats puff up when they make sounds. Each type of frog makes its own sound. This is a lake frog. And this is a koku frog. The koku frog is named after the sound it makes. It sounds like koki. This frog is the size of a quarter. Even small frogs can make loud noises. Ah, a quarter is pretty small. Frogs make different sounds for different reasons. Sometimes it's to warn other frogs of danger. Sometimes it's to call to frogs nearby. This frog lives around noisy waterfalls. Other frogs would not be able to hear its calls, so it dances instead. It sticks out one leg and then the other. Look at that. This is called the dancing frog. That's funny. I haven't heard of that one before. Next chapter, frog food. What is a frog's favorite food? Usually it's insects or bugs. Frogs eat dragonflies and crickets and other bugs. This is the green frog. Some frogs eat bigger animals like worms and mice. The American bullfrog can even eat other frogs. This is the Amazon horned frog. It's eating a mouse. And this is the American bullfrog. And look, it's eating another frog. What's that pink flash? It's how a frog catches bugs. It shoots out its long, sticky tongue at a passing bug. The frog pulls the bug into its mouth. If your tongue were as long as a frog's, it would reach to your belly button. Whoa, this is a green tree frog. Look at that. Next chapter, every size and color. Frogs can be many different sizes. Oh my goodness, look how small this frog. This is somebody's finger, the tip of the finger. And this is how tiny that frog is. It's called a micro frog. That is really tiny. The frog, the smallest frog is as big as a fingernail. The largest is as big as a rabbit. Oh my goodness, look at the size of this frog. That is the Goliath frog. So you have the tiniest to the biggest. That's a huge frog. Frogs can be different colors too. You normally think of a frog as being green, but some are green or brown. Others have stripes or spots. Frogs can be red, yellow, or orange. They can even be bright blue. So this is the tiger striped leaf frog. See the tiger stripe? This one is called the Amazonian poison dart frog. Poison doesn't sound good. This one is called the red poison dart frog. And this one is the blue poison dart frog. So these bright colors are kind of like a warning. I am dangerous. Watch out! These colorful frogs may look pretty, but watch out. These frogs have poison in their skin. Their bright color warns enemies not to eat them. So this is the poison dart frog. This is also a poison dart frog. And this is the yellow banded poison dart frog. So if you ever see a bright colored frog, you don't really see those around here too much, but if you see one, don't touch it. This little frog is only an inch long, which is about this long. Its name is Terribilis, which means the terrible one. How did it get this name? By being the most deadly frog of all. One Terribilis has enough poison to kill 20,000 mice. Wow. Look at that little tiny Terribilis. Now, this is the part where we're talking about the life cycle. The life cycle is how they're born and how they grow and then how they make more frogs. And the title of this is called Frog Babies. So this is going to tell you the life cycle of the frog. All frogs, even the Terribilis, have mothers. Mother frogs lay eggs. Now their eggs look different than an egg you would eat in the kitchen. Crack an egg, that's a chicken egg, usually. But these are still eggs. Look at that. When the eggs are ready, out pop the tadpoles. So inside these little, they're like jelly sacks, these eggs, they're growing. And when they are ready, pops a tadpole. This is a baby frog. The tadpoles are baby frogs, but they don't look like frogs yet. Tadpoles have tails. And then this actually is an older tadpole because when they're first pop out, they don't have legs. And then as they get older, they start to grow legs and arms. So this one's an older tadpole. This is a Pacific tree frog tadpole. And these are red-eyed tree frog eggs. So here they are, tadpoles. This is when they first pop out without the legs. At first they breathe underwater with gills like a fish on the side. They breathe underwater. That's how they breathe. Then they actually grow lungs for breathing air. That's why they can get out of the water eventually. We breathe air with lungs. We can't breathe underwater. But when frogs are first born, they can breathe underwater and then they grow lungs. That's not cool. And they also grow legs. See, this one still has a tail and it has some legs now for hopping and swimming. And then the tail gets shorter and shorter until it goes away altogether. And then it doesn't even have a tail. In 3 months, they lose their tails. And it's time to hop out of the water. So this is a red-eyed tree frog tadpole. This is a monkey frog tadpole. And this is a bullfrog. Toads are frogs too. What's the difference between toads and frogs? This is a frog. This is a toad. So a frog, some frogs are poisonous. They're moist, that means they're kind of wet and smooth. Frogs are. They have long, powerful jumping legs and usually webbed hind back feet. Teeth in their upper jaw, up on the top. And their eggs are laid in clusters or groups all together, like you saw in that picture before. Now on a toad, eyes do not bulge out from the body. A poison gland is located behind each eye. They don't have any teeth. A toad is dry and bumpy instead of smooth and wet. Eggs are laid in long chains instead of groups. And shorter legs because they do more walking than hopping. Toads are a type of frog. Frogs spend most of their lives around water. Toads spend most of their lives on dry land. Their bodies are built for where they live. And now, these are super frogs. Some cool different things about frogs. This is a two-faced baker. It has these spots on the back of its skin that make it look like more eyes, but these are actually not eyes. They try to trick others that might want to grab it. The high flyer, they're actually gliding leaf frog. It's not really flying, but it kind of leaps a long distance in the air. The screamer, loudmouth frog leaves enemies stuns. They're so loud. And the invisible, look at this one. Now you see it, now you don't. He's a master of disguise. He doesn't even look like a frog, does he? You barely see the eyes. So no one would even know he was there. So hopefully you learned some things. I even learned some things about frogs. And